Today on the Cold Rope, we're talking about 3 different types of showcase teams, local, regional, and national teams to help you find the right fit for your showcase journey.
Welcome to the Cold Rope Show, your #1 source for tips, trends, and advice to make sure your baseball journey goes totally right. And now, here's your host, Travel Ball Dad, making it all make sense.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cold Rope Podcast, your #1 source in navigating your showcase journey. I am Travel Ball Dad, giving you tips, trends, and advice to help make sure your travel ball journey goes totally right. We are here to help you just make it make sense.
Make it make sense.
That's right, just make it make sense. Now, if you gain value with this information, make sure you subscribe to our podcast and press that subscribe and notification button right here on YouTube so that you can get the up-to-date information to help you navigate your showcase journey. Make sure you comment on this video because I do respond to all.
Make it make sense, bruh.
Okay, I'll make it make sense. I always tell people it comes down to the fit and the expectations you have in choosing to play for a showcase team. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing. You need to do you. You do you. Find that team that's going to meet your goals and it's a good fit for your talent level. Players have different goals. Some want to play college, specifically at the Division I level. Some don't care and just want to play anywhere. Some go into showcase ball with that mindset of saying, hey, I just want to play, have fun, and if the opportunity comes to play the next level, I'll look into it. Whatever the goal is, more or less is going to dictate what type of team is going to be best for you. So let's talk about those teams that are out there. #1, the local teams. Now, these are your local organizations and your academies that are in and around your town, and they're going to play within a 2 to 3 hour drive the majority of the summer and probably in the fall. And maybe they're going to play 1, possibly 2 big events per year. It is easy on the budget as these fees probably could cost about $400, $500 for the summer. Now, I'm just being honest here. Local teams competitively will not be like your regional or your national teams in terms of talent. Why? Because the pool of elite players and that talent is so small in a local area, they can't compete with those organizations that have a further and broader reach. And because of that, the abundance of college scouts coming to see them play will not be as great as those regional or national teams. Now, my son played on a regional national team and they got beat by a local team one time. And the fans and those players were screaming and they were yelling, jumping for joy. And the parents were yelling like they just won the World Series. And I sat back and I thought about it and I was happy for them because I knew some of those players on that team. And they should feel that euphoria and thrill of winning while being the underdog. They don't get to travel. They don't get to compete against that elite talent week in and week out like a regional or a national brand does. But in reality, I'm giving you a reality check. In a 5-game set, a local team will win 5-4 in a close game, and they're going to lose the other 4 games 15-4. It is what it is. I'm just trying to help you make it make sense. The exposure will not be at the level of a regional team or a national team, but these teams have good talent, good competition, and they give players an opportunity to get many reps because they play so local, they play often, and there's no log jams at positions for playing time. Everybody plays an equal amount, and if that goal of reps is important to you, then this might be the fit for you. One organization that comes to mind is American Legion Baseball. It once was the standard bearer in high school summer baseball until travel ball actually took over. It's still a great option with good competition for a great price. Now, if you don't want to pay $3,000, $5,000 in fees and tournament and lodging and hotels, go ahead, play American Legion ball, play locally. You're going to get reps. It's going to make you better. #2, regional teams. Now, remember, showcase baseball is a big business. And oftentimes, a national brand, a national travel organization is going to farm out their name to a local and a regional group, and they will carry that national name only for a fee. It's sort of like buying into a franchise. They use that name for credibility, and the brands, those national brands, use it to increase their footprint in a particular region. This essentially helps those regional groups get into those special elite tournaments because of that affiliation, but all their decisions on how they run their organization is solely at their discretion. They have full control in making all the decisions from personnel, from cost, from the schedule, from promoting you to colleges. And these regional teams, in many cases, can end up being just as good or even better than some of those organizations' main national team. So here's the deal. Not all parents wish to play for a national brand because they're going to be traveling throughout the nation all summer. They don't want to do that for 5 weekends in a row, going to Georgia, going back up to Ohio, back down to Florida, back to their home, over to North Carolina, back out of California. They don't want to do that. A regional team can gather the best in the state or that tri-state area, find about 10 POs that can really sling it, get the best 10 or 11 hitters from that region, and they're usually going to be Division I prospects, and they can compete with those national brands. And in many cases, they can end up beating that national team because it only takes a bunch of pitchers and about 10 guys that can really swing it.
Make it make sense.
Parents, listen closely. These sorts of teams and organizations will have a deeper connection with college recruiters as it relates to a local team. Why? Because the net is bigger, which means more tiered, higher tiered players are going to be playing on that team. And when there are more high level players on a team, there's more recruiting activity on that team. And for college coaches, the more the merrier. If they got a bunch of great players in one location, they love it. And typically, they're going to go to those bigger tournaments for that exposure because they got some kids that can really ball out. And if you got the ballers, it's time to go, show up, or shut up in Showcase Baseball. Your regional teams are going to show up at these bigger events because they got elite players and they can compete with the best in the country. So remember to evaluate those prospective team players, the POs, the schedule, and the list of those commitments that regional organization has had over the years and on that current team, because this is a key indicator that they have those deep connections and they have built that trust with those college coaches. If it all checks out well, if your goal is to get to those legitimate tournaments for exposure, then you found yourself a good fit. Number 3, national teams. Let's talk about the big dogs that are driving this whole travel ball money machine. So you got that call about playing on a national team, that national travel team. What's all the hype about, you may ask yourself? What is all the hype about this national team? Well, these are the teams that have a multitude, and when I say multitude, I mean multitude of elite college and Major League Baseball prospects from across the country that play with them in the summertime. These teams are built to go to the biggest and the baddest tournaments across the country for one purpose and one purpose only. And like Herm Edwards says, they play to win the game. They play for all the marbles in all these tournaments, and they want to increase their brand. And they do that by going to these big tournaments with loaded players. If you get invited to play on an elite national team, it may be worth exploring. For the most part, most, if not all, these players will be Division I caliber players, which can only help you get more exposure and evaluations from pro scouts. Remember, they go to the biggest and baddest tournaments where the colleges and the pro scouts descend to because they want to see that elite competition. Here's what they usually look like. National teams are always loaded, and I mean loaded with pitching. Why? To go deep in the tournaments. In fact, that's the key to making a deep, successful run in the tournaments, as you heard me say before. A true national team is going to have about 15 to 20 pitchers only, POs we call them, and they're going to have an outstanding group of advanced hitters from top to bottom. Where most local and regional teams will have 6 to 10 POs that are really good pitchers and maybe 1 to 5 great advanced hitters, national teams are loaded with big time talent at every position from across the country. And typically the owner of that organization is going to go ahead and coach that team, and he's not even going to charge the players to play. He may even pay for their travel. Don't hate, Showcase Baseball is a big business. You can't get mad at those national brands. And they do a great service to a lot of these kids out here. They give them an opportunity to play, to travel across the country. They give them an opportunity to get in front of pro scouts. They treat them well. Hey, don't get mad at the national organizations. Don't hate the player. But parents, listen, this is very important. Do not get fooled. Unfortunately, it can be somewhat deceptive. Many organizations have multiple national teams in name only. It's a way to entice high school players to get their commitment and their money to fund the true national team. Hey, I just got to give it to you straight. I'm going to tell you like it is. And oftentimes, I've seen this a lot of times with friends of mine. Oftentimes, they're going to be told that, hey, you're going to play on the national team. Sure, you're going to go to a few big tournaments and wear their uniform, but in most cases, the team that you're going to be on will have average to better than average players and not near the great pitching needed to go deep into those tournaments. You eventually figure it out that you could have played somewhere else with a solid local team or a regional team and saved thousands of dollars and still get the same exposure for your recruiting. You see, that money was used to help pay for the true national team, the true national player, and all their travel. That's the business. And it happens all the time. You need to ask up front before you commit your money to that organization who's going to be on the team. How many POs are on that team? What tournaments will you attend? Which team am I actually going to be on? Not all national teams are national teams, and you can do just as well getting noticed and receiving that offer by playing with a solid group of regional players throughout your state. If you are committed and you are an elite player, you don't need a national team. At this point, you've already been identified. You are in the system. You are getting those letters from MLB scouts. You are getting those notifications from those teams. Hey, been there. And you are being watched by those pro scouts. So just relax and enjoy your summer going into your senior year. But there you have it, the breakdown of the 3 different types of showcase teams, local, regional, and national teams. Now you need to figure out what is going to be the best fit for you in your showcase journey. Guys, if you think I brought value with this information, make sure you subscribe to our podcast and press that like and subscribe and notification button right here on YouTube so that you can get the up-to-date information to help you navigate your travel ball journey. Make sure you comment on this video because I do respond to all. Join us next time as we will talk about the different camps utilized by high school baseball players and the ones you must go to. That's it for the Cold Rope Show, giving you tips, trends, and advice to help make sure your travel ball journey goes totally right. I am Travel Ball Dad. They call me Travel Ball Dad because I have seen it all in travel ball, and I'm just trying to help you
make it make sense.
Make it make sense.
The Cold Rope Podcast and Show, where we make it make sense. Your baseball journey, that is. Follow and subscribe now.